I give you the welcome to the Havana Club Rum Museum. My name is Aramis. I'm going to guide you during your visit. So we are going to know the whole process of production of the Havana Club rum, from the plantations until the tasting you'll have at the end in the shop. Symbolically, we begin with the sound of the bell, as it was also done to begin the working day, the sugar refineries. Okay? You want to bit? First room of the Rum Museum. Here we are going to know a little about the history of the mark Havana Club and everything about these rums, so the products of Havana Club. So Havana Club was founded in 1886 by the Cuban Jose Arezabala, and at the beginning it was property of the American government. So after the revolution in 1959, everything is owned to the Cuban government. So here, so nowadays Havana Club has a joint venture with Pernod Ricard. It's the international distributor of Havana Club, so all over the world. So here you can see Añejo Blanco, which is around 2 years old. Añejo 3 años, 3 years, and Añejo Especial 5 years. These rums are, so they are white. This one is a little brown, and they are a little aggressive when we taste them. That's why Havana Club recommends these rums for making cocktails, so mojito, Cuba Libre, and so on. Then you have Añejo Reserva, about 6 years old, 7 years, Selection of Masters, 10 years, and Gran Reserva 15 years. These rums are darker. We can drink them pure or with ice on the rock. And at the end you can see Añejo Máximo. This is the most expensive product of Havana Club. It's, so it costs 1,700 kuk a bottle, and so it's very special. So the bottle was made by hand. It's Murano. The writing is of gold, and the bases of rum we have used in this blending were aged from 30 to 80 years in the barrel. It means this is the best quality, and you know all these characteristics. So in here, Selection of Masters is a very special rum too, because it's only 10 years. So all of these rums are the result of a blending between rums from different ages. But this is only 10-year-old, so it's not mixed with rums from other ages. Okay. So here you can see about the history of the sugar cane, because the rum making begins with the fermentation of molasses, which is nothing else than the byproduct of the sugar cane. So sugar cane is from Africa and South Asia originally. Then it was brought specifically to India, China, Portugal, and the Canary Islands in Spain. And Christopher Columbus brought it to America in his second trip in 1493. It was first to Santo Domingo, and later on it spread across the whole Caribbean. And at the beginning of the 16th century, the sugarcane found in Cuba the ideal climate, temperatures, microflora conditions for its development. So at the beginning we had 3 or 4 varieties, and nowadays we have more than 100. There are many. An important fact that helped to develop the sugarcane industry in Cuba was the appearance of slavery. You can see that these pictures here. So slaves became the main labor force that worked in the plantations. So they came from Africa too. They were transported in these ships you can see here. And here you can see some punishment instruments, original objects from the colonial time. This here it's like a muzzle for avoiding the diet, so they couldn't drink water or eat anything. And the other one here is a net. So they were placed in the sun. With this net they couldn't move, and after several hours we could see the sunburns on the skin. So in 1820 the steam machines appeared in Cuba. We did industrialization, and it had a big influence in the abolition of slavery in 1886. It was before Brazil, which was the last country in America in abolishing slavery. The plantations, you can see how slaves worked. So these are the houses where they lived when they were free. They are named bohíos. We can find these houses in the countryside where the farmers still live. This is a mill. We are going to see two models here. And here we have a picture of an ingenio. It was the first sugar factory we had in Cuba. Not too big, not too developed, but it was the first step in all this production. And here you can see the sugar cane. So sugar cane is similar to the bamboo. It can grow up from 2 to 4 meters, and the harvest in Cuba is from December to March. Then the sugar cane grows up during the rain season. And these plantations can be used up to 7 or 8 years. And then the soil is burned. And after 6 months, it's ready to plant the sugar cane again. Used in Cuba at the end of the 17th century. This one worked manual, so two slaves placed on both sides of a mill. The sugar cane was squeezed here, and under we could collect the juice. And the other one here worked by animal traction, as you can see on this picture. So these animals went around the mill and do the same process. So the sugar cane was pressed here and under the juice. So this juice went down to these boilers. They are made of copper. And so we get like a syrup. That's not yet molasses. So after 46 hours resting in these clay recipients, we can see the sugar crystals around the walls, and in the center the molasses, which is the raw material we need to begin with the fermentation in the rum factory. Trains of Cuba. And for this moment, we are going to talk not anymore about ingenios. They were small sugar factories, but about centrales azucareros. They are sugar factories too, but they are bigger and more developed. And for this moment, 76% of the activities of the transportation of the sugar cane were made by train. So here we're going to see a scale model. It represents a sugar factory of the 30s, and it doesn't have the same characteristics of our present sugar factories, but the model is a partnership between the Cuban Lázaro Garcia Drix and a German company. It was LBE. This is the present Märklin. I don't know if you know the Märklin. This is the, are you from Germany? Yes, the Märklin. So this is the business, the company in Germany. It has to do with the business of the trains and all this. So at the left you can see the plantations. There the sugar cane is cut by hand, and it's transported by train to the first building at the right, where there's a mill. Here we get the juice, and this juice goes through tubes to the second building, and there 76% of the water evaporates, and so we can get the same syrup we had obtained before, but here it's faster, more industrialized. And then in the third building, by centrifugal force, so the sugar crystals can be separated from the molasses. Molasses is shipped directly to the rum factory, and sugar crystals are refined to get white sugar. So around the sugar factory, there's a carpentry too, the workshop for the train, the post office, and at the back you can see a little town where the workers of the factory live, maybe up to 1,000. And from this moment we are going to know all the processes that take place in the rum factory. At the beginning of the tour, here molasses is mixed with purified water and yeast. And after 24 hours we get a product with 6% alcohol and some gas realizing that later on will be used to carbonate water, sodas and so on. So this alcohol percentage is not enough to produce the rum. That's why this product is brought to the column stills here at the back, and through the evaporation and condensation processes, the alcohol percentage can be increased. So after the first distillation in the first still, we get spirit at 76% alcohol, and after the other distillation in the other still, yes, we get alcohol at 96-98%. So it's almost pure. It's used in the medicine and the pharmacy too. So this spirit we get after the first distillation contains 13% of impurities, which are typical from the molasses. And we have to filter that because we need to remove all these residues, okay? So we're going to see that in the filtration filter. It contains 3 layers: charcoal, sand, and silica stone, or silicium. And these products are responsible for eliminating all these residues. But this is a very slow process because it works by gravity. And after 1 hour, we can get only 3 or 4 liters of this spirit. That's why we use only charcoal in the raw factories, and then we press to get a bigger quantity in less time. And then when the spirit is already clean, it's so without impurities, it's placed through tubes in this collector barrel you can see here, and it's ready to be aged in a real aging warehouse, like the one you can see here, in a real cellar. The same characteristics of a real aging warehouse, of a real cellar. So temperature, humidity, illumination. And this is the place where the spirit is going to be aged for 2 years in the barrel. Then it's mixed with purified water and with the alcohol at 96, so that we get a standard of 40% alcohol. And then it's aged again for 2 years. So we get Añejo Blanco, the first one here, which is very aggressive when we taste it. That's why Havana Club ages that again in the barrel, maybe up to 100 years. And so we can get the different bases of rum for different ages. And that's very important for the final blending to get all these rums. All of these are blended, I have said at the beginning, except selection of masters. It's only 10-year-old. So it's important too that the rum takes all characteristics from the wood, so from the barrel. Color, aroma, flavor. And the older the barrel and the longer the time in the barrel, the better the quality, so the darker, the lighter the rum. So here, let me clarify, when you see, for example, 7 years on the label, that's not for how long the rum was aged in the barrel. This is the youngest rum we have used in the blending. It's always with older rums and the youngest one on the label, okay? Here in this picture, you can see 4 of our rum masters. So they are responsible for making this blending and all these things for the Havana Club. And in Cuba we have only 9 rum masters. 6 were for Havana Club, and there are 18, 20 students they are learning for becoming rum masters. But this is a very slow and complicated process because these students must be chemical engineers. And then they have to spend 15 years with the rum masters, and they have to taste the rum twice a day. After this time, yes. After this time, if the rum masters think that they are ready, it's okay. Otherwise, we can say that the students have wasted the time because there's no other opportunity in Cuba to become rum master. So it's always like a tradition. We have had 8, 9 rum masters. Maybe after 15 years, we can get only 3 or 4 rum masters more. It's very complicated. So do you have questions?
Oaky flavor,
You know, you're sitting behind. You're behind is about $1,000 Maxima. You know that?
Yeah, $1,700 rum. The lettering is gold.
Huh?
The actual lettering is gold, and the rum is 30 to 80 years old.
Huh?
30 to 80 years old, the rum.
32 years old.
And 30 to 80 years old, and the lettering is actually made of gold.
Is it?